Family is supposed to be a source of love, support, and protection. But what happens when love gets mistaken for weakness? When generosity is treated as an endless well? I never thought I'd live to see the day my mother, the calmest and most forgiving woman I know, would finally lose her patience. Yet it happened. She snapped in a way that left our entire family speechless. Everyone laughed at first, mocking her as though her words carried no weight. But what happened minutes later changed everything forever. This is the story of my family, of greed, betrayal, and a mother's breaking point. I grew up in a small town in Nigeria, in a compound house where extended family lived side by side. My father worked as a mechanic, and though his income wasn't much, he managed to keep food on the table. My mother, however, was the true backbone of our home. She ran a small provision shop in front of our house, selling everything from bread and sardines to detergent. People in the community trusted her because she gave credit to those who didn't have money, believing that one day they'd pay back. But that kindness became her weakness. By the time I was 16, it had become routine for relatives and even neighbors to borrow money or goods from her shop. "Mama Chica, please, my child hasn't eaten since morning. Just give me rice. I'll pay you tomorrow." "Mama, I need small change for transport. My salary will come next week." At first, she helped happily. But the weeks turned into months, and the debts piled up. My elder brother, Chica, often warned her, "Mama, you're not a bank. These people will never pay you back." But she would always smile gently and say, "Izigbo NWAM, it's better they eat and owe me than for me to eat and sleep knowing someone's child is hungry." I admired her compassion, but I also saw how tired her eyes looked when she counted her sales at night. Most times, the money was missing, eaten up by debts. Yet, she carried on. Then came my uncle, my father's younger brother, Hugo. If debt had a face, it would have been his. Uncle Hugo was a man of endless excuses. One week, his wife was sick. The next, his child needed school fees. Every problem landed at our doorstep. My father, too kind to refuse his brother, would ask Mama to lend him money. And Mama, though reluctant, would always give. Things took a darker turn after my father passed away suddenly from a stroke. The weight of the world fell on Mama's shoulders. She became both father and mother to us. The shop was our only source of survival. But instead of easing her burden, the family increased it. They treated her shop like a free-for-all. I remember one particular evening. We were seated in the parlor when Auntie Ngozi, another relative, stormed in. She didn't even greet. She just announced, "Mama Chica, a beg give me 20,000 Nigerian nairas loan. I'll return it after 2 weeks." Mama shifted uneasily. "Ngozi, business has not been moving. I don't have that kind of money now." Ngozi rolled her eyes. "Don't tell me that, Mama. You know you always have. You're just being stingy. Is it not small children that buy biscuits every day in your shop? Stop pretending." The words pierced. My mother's lips trembled, but she forced a smile. "Ngozi, if I had, would I not give you?" When she left angrily, slamming the door, my heart ached. That was the kind of disrespect Mama endured daily. As years went by, it became worse, as Mama's shop was empty. Yet, at that same time, Uncle Hugo came, smiling sheepishly, asking for 15,000 Nigerian nairas to settle something urgent. Mama gave it to him. I couldn't hold my tongue anymore. "Mama, why are you doing this? Chica needs school fees. Don't you see? They don't respect you. They don't even see you as a human being anymore." Her eyes filled with tears. 8 a.m., I know, but I can't turn them away. If I say no, they will say I am wicked. I shook my head. My mother's kindness was being eaten alive by vultures. The breaking point came 2 years later, during Christmas season. Everyone gathered in our compound for the holiday. It was supposed to be a time of joy, but instead, it became the day my mother snapped. That morning, Mama woke early to prepare food: jollof rice, stew, fried meat. She had saved for weeks just to make sure everyone ate well. As relatives arrived, the compound was filled with chatter and laughter. But soon, the usual requests began. "And Mama Chica, a beg dash me small money for recharge card. Mama, I need money for fuel. Mama, please lend me 10,000 Nigerian nairas till January." At first, she tried to smile and shake her head, but the pressure mounted. Then Uncle Hugo, with his booming voice, stood in front of everyone and said, "Sister-in-law, a beg give me 25,000 Nigerian nairas. My business is stuck. I'll pay back double after New Year." I saw something in my mother's eyes snap. She wiped her hands on her wrapper, stood up slowly, and faced the crowd. Her voice, usually calm, was sharp like a blade. "Enough! Enough, I say! I am not your bank. We are not your bank anymore." The compound went silent for a moment, then erupted in laughter. "Ha ha ha! See Mama Chica, oh, the generous woman is angry. She day vexed today, but by tomorrow she goes still give us. A beg, don't mind her. We know she cannot say no." Their laughter cut deep. My heart raced as I watched my mother's hands tremble. She wasn't smiling this time. She wasn't pretending. She shouted louder, her voice shaking. "Do you people think I don't see how you mock me? Do you think I don't hear the names you call me behind my back? I gave and gave, yet none of you has ever repaid me. My children go hungry while you enjoy. From today, I swear with my husband's grave, I will not give again. Not 1 naira. We are not your bank anymore." Her words echoed in the air. But instead of silence, the laughter grew louder. They dismissed her as though she were a child throwing tantrums. "Chai! Mama Don swear oh. She's joking. By evening she will change her mind. A beg, who dey take her serious?" Even I, standing beside her, feared that her words would vanish into the wind like always. But something told me this time was different. Minutes later, everything changed. It began with a scream. Ngozi, who had mocked Mama the loudest, suddenly collapsed, clutching her chest. People rushed to her, panicking. "What happened? Bring water! Bring water!" Her lips trembled as though she wanted to speak, but no words came out. Then Hugo, still holding his cup of palm wine, began to cough violently. He bent over, his face turning red. "Water! Water!" he cried. Chaos erupted. Some shouted it was a spiritual attack. Others said it was poison. But Mama stood still, her eyes unblinking. For the first time in my life, I saw fear in the faces of those who had mocked her. The laughter died instantly, replaced by trembling silence. That was the moment I realized, when a kind woman finally snaps, the whole world shakes. The compound turned into chaos that afternoon. People shouted, children cried, and the air grew heavy as fear gripped every heart. Auntie Ngozi was still on the ground, her body stiffening while some of the women fanned her desperately with wrappers. Uncle Hugo sat hunched over, coughing until he vomited. The same people who mocked Mama moments ago now darted glances at her, whispering under their breath, "Is this her curse? Did she call something on us? No, no, Mama Chica cannot do such a thing. She's too kind." But the timing was undeniable. She had just raised her voice, declared an end to being used, and within minutes 2 of the loudest mockers were struck down. I watched my mother closely. Her face was unreadable, as though she herself could not understand what had just happened. She hadn't moved, hadn't uttered another word, only stared into the distance with an unsettling calmness. Neighbors rushed to carry Ngozi inside one of the rooms. Someone ran to fetch the local pastor, while another brought a bike to take Hugo to the nearest clinic. The laughter that had filled the compound an hour ago had evaporated, replaced by an uneasy silence. That night, people whispered in corners, afraid to even look Mama in the eyes. The same relatives who once barked demands now kept their distance, speaking with hushed voices as though her presence had become dangerous. By morning, news spread quickly. Ngozi had survived but was bedridden, her body too weak to move. The clinic confirmed that Hugo was stable, though he was advised to rest and avoid stress. But the family didn't see these as coincidences. To them, it was Mama's warning made real. When we gathered in the parlor later that day, no one dared to ask Mama for anything. They sat quietly, like children awaiting discipline. My mother finally spoke, her voice steady. "You see now? Do you think my words are for play? I have carried you all for years, but no more. My children will not suffer so that you may laugh and drink. If you love me, respect me. If you fear me, then fear. But never again will you call me a bank." Her eyes swept across the room, resting on each person one by one. The silence was deafening. Nobody laughed this time. Nobody mocked. For the first time, they saw her not as the soft woman they could exploit, but as someone who had limits, someone whose silence had cost her too much already. Later that evening, I sat beside her while she closed up the shop. Her hand shook slightly as she tied the last bag of Gary. "Mama," I whispered, "did you, 'cause what happened?" She looked at me, her eyes soft and tired. "NWAM, I only spoke from pain. God knows my heart. If anything happened, it is not from my hands. But sometimes, when a mother cries too long, heaven itself answers." Her words stayed with me. That day, the entire family's attitude shifted. No more constant borrowing, no more insults, no more disrespect. They began to treat Mama with the dignity she deserved. Fear had taught them what love could not. The weeks after that day changed everything in our family. The relatives who once came knocking at dawn with endless requests became strangely scarce. Those who had debts at Mama's shop began to show up quietly, pressing wrinkled Naira notes into her hand. Some apologized, though most never said the words directly. Still, their actions spoke louder than the mocking laughter they once hurled at her. For the first time, the shop began to grow again. Shelves that had been empty for months started to fill with goods. Mama's face, once lined with exhaustion, began to carry a peace I hadn't seen in years. But not everyone healed. Auntie Ngozi never fully regained her strength. She could walk, but her body remained weak, and she carried a quiet fear around Mama, avoiding eye contact whenever they crossed paths. As for Uncle Hugo, he stopped coming to our house altogether. People said he moved away to another town to start afresh. To me, it felt more like he was running, from shame or from the memory of that day. I couldn't tell. One evening, as we sat outside watching the sunset, Chica spoke up. "Mama, do you think they learned their lesson?" She sighed, resting her chin on her hand. "Perhaps. But that's not what matters most. What matters is that I finally learned mine." I tilted my head. "Yours?" She looked at us, her eyes glistening in the fading light. "For too long, I thought love meant giving until I had nothing left. I thought being strong meant never saying no. But strength, real strength, is knowing your worth and setting boundaries. If you let people treat you like a bank, one day they will empty not just your pocket, but your spirit." Her words cut deep, lodging themselves into my heart. Months passed, and life settled into a new rhythm. Our family gatherings became smaller, quieter. People came to eat food and share laughter, not to demand or mock. Mama's declaration had drawn an invisible line that nobody dared cross again. But for me, the lesson was greater. I saw how one woman's silence nearly destroyed her, how love without boundaries can be as dangerous as hate. I saw how easy it is for people to take advantage of kindness, and how difficult it is for them to respect it until they are forced to. That day changed not just Mama's life, but mine too. Years later, when I left for university, Mama held my hand and said, 8 a.m., never be afraid to be kind. But never forget to be firm. The world will test you. People will laugh at your pain, mock your limits, and drain your strength. But if you know who you are and what you stand for, you'll never break. Her words stayed with me through every trial, every betrayal, every choice I had to make. Looking back now, I realize the truth. When my mom snapped that day, it wasn't just anger. It was liberation. She finally freed herself from the chains of endless giving, from the weight of being everyone's savior while drowning herself. Everyone laughed at first. But when life struck back within minutes, laughter turned into silence, and respect was born out of fear and realization. The lesson? Even the gentlest hearts have limits. Kindness should never be mistaken for weakness, and boundaries are a form of love, both for yourself and for others. So, the next time you meet someone who gives endlessly, remember, don't wait until they snap to see their worth. Because when they do, everything can change in ways you never expected.